Go ahead and add arrows to the graph. Do we have a max or a min? Is there a highest point or a lowest point? Nope. I hear people shake. I see people shaking their head. Because you have an arrow going up. This here, this is how I have no max. Because I have an arrow pointing up. And this is how I know I have no min. Because I have an arrow going down. So both of these we're going to say none. All right, do we have a relative max? Is there a hilltop in there anywhere? All right, go ahead and name this point. Approximate that. It looks like it's about what, 1/6? A little bit higher, but we can round it. And then we also have a relative minimum right here. So you go ahead and figure out what that point would be. Let me grab another. So what would you call that point? I would say what, negative, you said -4, -10? Let's see. Yeah. It's a little bit off the chart. That sounds about right. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to our notes. And we are on page 10. I know I'm skipping over some pages. So when you see addition, all that means is combine your like terms. That's addition. Like terms have to have the same variable They also have to have the same exponent. So we don't have to make any sign changes or anything. All we do is look for terms that have the same exponent with the same variable with the same exponent. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So 3x squared and negative x squared. That would be like terms. So 3 minus 1 is 2. So that would be 2x squared. Because there's an invisible 1 right here. So I took 3 minus 1 to get 2. Next, I have negative 5x and negative 7x. Go ahead and add those together. Add negative 5 and negative 7. See what you get. I heard somebody say negative 12. Good. Negative 12x. Notice I'm not changing the exponent. And then lastly, I have 2 numbers that don't have variables, and that's 3 plus 8. What's 3 plus? I said the answer, sorry. And that's 3 plus 5. And 3 plus 5 is 8. I do that sometimes. My brain is just working a little bit faster. And that would be your answer. All right, I want you all to take a moment and try to do this one on your own. I skipped down to C. So Does everybody find C? Look for the ones that are the same. So if I look at my two blue bubbles, that would be 6 plus 1, which is 7x cubed. And then I have 7 minus 4. 7 take away 4 is 3x squared. And then I have negative 2x and negative 8x. What's negative 2 and negative 8? What is it? Not 6. Negative 10. So it's like you take away $2. It's like I borrowed $2 on Monday and $8 on Tuesday. So now I owe you 10 because they're both negative. So that would be a negative 10x. And then lastly, 5 plus 1 is 6. All right, any questions? Pretty simple. Do we remember this from integrated 2 and integrated 1? Yep, all right. So now let's talk about subtraction. Whenever you see a subtraction, we always start by distributing first. So let's go to page 11. So this does not change. I'm going to just rewrite that on my blank. Negative x squared plus 5x plus 17. But everything in this second parentheses gets a sign change when you distribute the negative. So a negative times a negative, that's going to make that x flip to a positive x. And then a negative times a positive is going to change that to a negative 23. All right, now take a moment and combine all your like terms. Combine all your like terms. So there's only one x squared, so that's by itself. But I have a positive 5x and a positive x. And in front of that x is a 1. So that's a 5 plus 1. What is 5 plus 1? 6. And then lastly, we got 17 minus 23. Go ahead and see what you get. 17 minus 23. What is it? Negative 6. Anybody else get negative 6? Okay. And that would be your final answer. So for a subtraction, we have to do two things first. We have to do two things. We have to distribute and then combine your like terms. And what changes is what's after the subtraction sign. So now let's go to B. I'm going to give you a moment. Try to do that one on your own. Remember, the first one stays the same. And then every single term in this second parentheses, you have to flip the sign. Every term. So if it's positive, it's going to flip to a negative. And if it's negative, you're going to flip it to a positive. every single term, flip the sign. Oops. So that's going to make the positive 5x cubed become a negative 5x cubed. And the positive 2x squared becomes a negative 2x squared. The negative 6x becomes positive 6x. And the negative 9 becomes positive 9. All right, we only have one term that's to the power of 3, so that one won't change, or we can't add that to anything. And then we have our x squareds, so that's 8x squared and negative 2x squared. So that's 8 minus 2. 8 minus 2. We don't change the exponent. It's still x squared. So 8 minus 2 gives us what? 6. Is it positive 6 or a negative 6? So we have positive 8 minus 2. Positive 6. So we're going to put a plus 6. And then next we have a negative 3x and a positive 6x. So what's negative 3 plus 6? Negative 3 plus 6. 3? Positive 3 or negative 3? Positive 3. And then lastly, we have our 1 plus 9, which is 10. Wait, let me go back. This one? This one? Okay, what happened?
7x squared and negative 4x squared.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. Can y'all fix that? I owe you an extra credit point. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. 7 minus 4 is positive 3. That's a positive 3. The sign does matter, so you do have to pay attention to the sign of the term. So yes, that absolutely does matter. Okay. So now let's look at letter C. I want you to take a moment and try to do that one on your own. Monasia, there's a homework in the front by the laptop that... So remember, the first term doesn't change. The first parentheses doesn't change. It's only what's after the subtraction sign. So positive 6x, that's going to flip to a negative 6x. And a positive 4 flips to a negative 4. So there's only one term that's x squared. So this is going to stay. All right, now this is tricky. This is where a lot of kids get confused because you have a negative 6x and the negative 6x. A lot of times students will say that's 0. But they're not 0 because they're both negative. So what does that give you? Negative 12x. Good. And then I have negative 13 minus 4. Both negative. So when I add them, it's still negative. And that should be a negative 17. Raise your hand if you have that answer. All right, good job, y'all. This is going to be an easy lesson. All right, last one. Do this one by yourself, and then we'll start working through the homework. So everything in this parentheses, you flip the sign. So we have our negative 17x cubed, which is going to flip to a positive 17x cubed. The positive 3x squared becomes a negative 3x squared. And the positive 5 becomes a negative 5. All right, so there's only one x to the 4th. So he does not have a friend. He stays by himself. Now we do have 2x cubes. So it's positive 3 and positive 17, which gives you what? Positive 20, good. X cubed, don't change your exponents. All right, there's only one x to the power of 2, so that stays by itself. But there are two numbers, two constants, negative 9 and negative 5, which gives you a negative 14. All right, any questions? All right, so let's start our homework. Can you write on homework 3? That is due this Thursday. You have a test next week on Tuesday. But this homework that everyone should have picked up in the front, raise your hand if you did not get it. There is a homework in the front. That is due Thursday for full credit. All right, so let's go ahead and look at it together, see what it's looking like. So you should be able to do everything in this section. So for today, I just want you to focus on these 6 questions. That's it. So just work on those, adding and subtracting. So for addition, you don't have to do anything, but for subtraction, for example, number 1, let's work through that one together. You will have that first parentheses does not change. But every time you see a subtraction, you have to flip the sign of everything that comes after that. So this becomes a negative 4x squared and a negative 6x and a negative 12. Every single term flip. And then you start adding together the like terms. For it to be a like term, it has to have the same exponent. So that would be 6x squared minus 4x squared, which would be 2x squared. And then You have a positive 5x minus 6x. 5 minus 6, negative 1x. And then lastly, you have your 10 minus 12. 10 minus 12 is negative 2. All right, so take a moment and keep working through questions up through question 6. Let me see something real quick. Yep, that's it. Just 1 through 6 for today. So if you're working on the homework every single day, that means that it'll be done by Thursday. Imagine that.